So in the previous class, we were discussing about the M-array PSK power spectral density or power spectral density of M-array PSK technique. So what will you understand by the word power spectral density means? You have the MPSK waveform, okay? That MPSK waveform which is being generated, what is the frequency band it is occupying? How much width of the frequency it is occupying? Or in exact words, what is the bandwidth of the MPSK signal? How to obtain the bandwidth of an M-array PSK signal that could be obtained by plotting the power spectral density of the signal. So power spectral density of M-array PSK signal should be plotted. So the equation for the power spectral density is given as SB, okay, of F. It is equal to 2 into E into sinc square. You know the pulse by name sinc pulse, that is this sinc square of T into F. So what is this T? T is defined as symbol duration. Okay, symbol duration. If M is equal to 8, if capital M is equal to 8, just carefully listen. M is equal to 8 means you are having 8 number of symbols. Each symbol could be treated as a group of 3 bits. I hope you understand. So therefore, T is equal to, then you can assume if each width of the bit or bit duration is TB, then 3 bits is equal to T is equal to 3 into TB. Okay, that is how it would be derived. So what is T? T is known as the symbol duration. Each symbol contains so many number of bits. How many number of bits each symbol contain? Each symbol contains log m to base 2 number of bits. How many number of bits each symbol contain? For example, if m is equal to 8, each symbol contains 3 bits. How it could be easily understood by if you obtain the log m to base 2 formula. M is equal to 8. Okay. So log 8 to base 2 is equal to log 8 divided by log 2. Log 8 would be written as 3 into log 2 divided by log 2. So therefore it is equal to 3. So that calculation you have already done in information theory and coding. So therefore no need to explain. So the symbol duration is given by T is equal to TB into log m to base 2. What is m? Total number of symbols. What is B? It is bit duration. Then what is this T? It is the symbol duration. Each symbol contains so many number of bits. So what is the bit duration? TB. How many bits a symbol contain? It contains log m to base 2 number of symbols. Okay, with this particular equation, power spectral density is obtained as 2 into E sinc square of T into F. Okay. So normally the power spectral density which you are obtained, it would be a band pass power spectral density. Okay, but for the sake of understanding, I have converted that band pass to a low pass signal. Okay, band pass power spectral density to low pass power spectral density for easier analysis. Okay, if you are confused with band pass and low pass, currently don't bother. So this is the equation for power spectral density of M-array PSK. Then if you start analyzing this, the M is equal to 8. Higher the number of symbols, greater the number of symbols, the bandwidth occupied by the MPSK is very less. See, just compare M is equal to 2 with 8, binary with 8 array phase shift keying. So this signal M is equal to 8 array 8 or 8 PSK signal, okay, it occupies lesser bandwidth when compared to QPSK and BPSK. So therefore, what is the aim is your signal should occupy lesser bandwidth so that it would be easy to transmit over the communication channel. The communication channel, we don't have freedom of bandwidth. So bandwidth is always restricted. So in an attempt will always be done to reduce the signal bandwidth. Okay, now if you observe the power spectral density graph, then M is equal to 8, that is 8 PSK signal, PSK with 8 number of symbols occupy a smaller bandwidth than the other MPSK signals or QPSK and BPSK signals. So higher the value of M, lower the bandwidth occupied. So therefore we will choose the higher array PSK signals. So that is what we can understand from this particular slide. Okay, then we will come to the next topic called as bandwidth efficiency. Remember, there are two things in communication. One is the signal bandwidth and the channel bandwidth. Okay, so signal bandwidth, okay, it should be less than or equal to the channel bandwidth. Signal bandwidth cannot cross or exceed the channel bandwidth. Channel means, say for example, you have a copper wire, twisted cable, optical fiber cables. Okay, all these can allow only a set of signals. A copper wire cannot allow a microwave signal to pass through it. It can allow low frequency signals. Okay, so each and every channel has a bandwidth or has a group of frequencies. Only those frequencies can be allowed through the channel. Not all signals can be flown on every channel. There is a restriction. So therefore, remember, there are two bandwidths. One bandwidth is the signal bandwidth and the other bandwidth is channel bandwidth. Okay, so now whatever the graph which you have learnt over here, from this what you can understand or from this what you can obtain is the signal bandwidth, but not the channel bandwidth. For the channel bandwidth, for these type of M-array PSK signals, we are having a ready formula. Channel bandwidth is given by B is equal to 2 divided by T. This is a standard formula for channel bandwidth to pass M-array PSK signal. Remember, this is not the signal bandwidth, this is the channel bandwidth. You can have a very layman example for signal bandwidth and a channel bandwidth. Signal refers to, you can refer it as a two-wheelers, okay, and channel you can refer to as a road. Always the width of the road should be greater than the width of a vehicle. Okay, that you can understand. Okay, so channel means width of the road. Signal bandwidth means width of the vehicle. Anybody can say, logically anybody can say width of the vehicle should be always less than width of the road. That is, signal bandwidth should be less than or equal to channel bandwidth. That is the thing. So therefore, B is equal to 2 by T is the channel bandwidth. Okay, so you should take care such that the signal bandwidth should be less than or equal to channel bandwidth. Now let us have another a concept called as bandwidth efficiency. So back to analyze this bandwidth efficiency, let us have some simple expressions. Okay, so now we are again rewriting the channel bandwidth expression. B is equal to 2 divided by T. What is T? T is known as symbol duration. So symbol duration and bit duration are related by the formula T is equal to TB into log M2 base 2. This I have told in the previous slide. The symbol duration is related to the bit duration. Okay, how are they related? T is equal to TB into log M2 base 2. Then from your basics, you know what is TB? TB is called as bit duration. How much second a bit is available, that is known as bit duration. So 1 by TB is called as bit rate. So what is the reciprocal of TB? That is 1 by TB. The 1 by TB is called as the bit rate and the unit is bits per second. So therefore 1 by TB is expressed as RB. So what is RB? RB is nothing but the bit rate. Bit rate means bits per second. Okay. So now what is this formula? This is the formula for the channel bandwidth expressed in terms of bit rate. Okay, so based on this formula, let us define a term called as bandwidth efficiency. So what does this bandwidth efficiency means? It's very simple. See, you are having the data. Okay, you are having the data, and a channel is provided for you to transmit the data. So the every channel is having some bandwidth. Okay, 1 kilohertz may be the bandwidth of the channel, 1 megahertz may be the bandwidth of the channel, 10 kilohertz, 10 megahertz, 100 megahertz. These would be the bandwidths of the channels. Now, for every unit bandwidth means 1 hertz, how many bits per second you can transmit. That is what the meaning of bandwidth efficiency. The bandwidth efficiency is very simple. I will give you a 1 kilohertz bandwidth channel. Okay, I will give you a 1 kilohertz bandwidth channel. You divide the 1 kilohertz bandwidth channel to 1 hertz. So therefore, how many 1 hertz channels you are having? 1000 1 hertz channels you are having. In a particular 1 hertz channel, the entire channel has been subdivided into 1 hertz channel. In that 1 hertz channel, how many bits per second you can transmit? That is the meaning of bandwidth efficiency. How efficiently you are utilizing the bandwidth. So that is what we are learning. So now let us conduct an experiment and calculate the bandwidth efficiency for PSK. See, now you know what is the meaning of bandwidth efficiency. It is given as, just observe, RB divided by B. What is B? B is hertz. What is RB? Bits per second. So if you understand it by its units and dimensions, so what does it say? Bits per second per hertz. For a unit frequency, how many bits per second is possible? Okay, so which would be a better system? For a unit frequency, larger number of bits per second, the better would be the performance of the system. Okay, now if we consider the same thing, see, for example, PSK, I make m is equal to 2, I made m is equal to 4, 8, 16, 32, so on and so forth. There will be a 50% increase in the bandwidth efficiency. Okay, they have calculated this formula and obtained the value as 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2 and 2.5. What does this mean? See, if you design a BPSK signal, how are you going to utilize the channel? For 1 hertz, you are transmitting half of the bit. So that is not properly understood. So therefore, if I give you a bandwidth of 1 kilohertz, then rho is equal to 0.5. What does that mean? 0.5 means 0.5 bits per hertz. How much bandwidth I am giving? I am giving you 1 kilohertz. That is 0.5 into 1000. That is 500 bits per second in a 1 kilohertz channel. Now we will come to this 4. What does 1 refers to? 1 bit per second in 1 hertz channel. What is the channel I am giving now? I am giving you a channel of 1 kilohertz. So therefore, how many bits per second you can transmit? 1000 bits per second you are going to transmit. Where? In 4. So over here you are having 500 bits. In m is equal to 4 system, you are having 1000 bits. In m is equal to 8, 1500 bits. M is equal to 16, 2500, 2000, 32, 2500, so on and so forth. So what one can say is, if you increase the value of m, if you are working with a higher values PSK or greater value of PSK with higher values of m, you are going to utilize the bandwidth efficiently. Bandwidth utilization means in a 1 hertz channel or in a duration of 1 hertz, how many bits per second you can transmit. That is the exact meaning of bandwidth efficiency. So with this, M array PSK has been completed. Then the next topic under discussion is the BFSK, that is binary. Okay, now please shift your analysis from M array to binary. M array to binary. Here, binary means how many symbols? You are having two symbols, symbol 1 and symbol 0. Here, what modulation you are using? Frequency modulations you are using. Two symbols, each symbol would be given with a frequency. You vary the frequency of the carrier. Either increase the frequency of the carrier or decrease the frequency of the carrier, or use two different frequencies. Two different carrier frequencies you can use, just as shown. See, for the first signal, they are going to use NC plus 1 divided by TB. For second signal, the frequency is NC plus 2 divided by TB. TB is the bit duration, NC is some constant. It depends upon the modulation system you are going to design. I is the symbol number or the signal number. Whenever I is equal to 1, we will have a convention that let us transmit symbol 1. When I is equal to 2, we are going to transmit the symbol 0. Okay, so that is the meaning. So whenever you transmit I is equal to 1, what you are supposed to understand, you are transmitting symbol 1. Okay, let us have a convention. There is no hard and fast rule that I is equal to 1 should be always referred to symbol 1. I is equal to 2 should always get referred to symbol 0. No, not that. It is a convention. Okay, so I is equal to 1 means cos 2 pi f1t means symbol 1. Cos 2 pi f2t means sorry, f2t means symbol 0. So the carrier frequency fi is given by nc plus I divided by tb. Okay, so again, so this is the very basic here. It is not fc. Fc is equal to fi is equal to nc plus I divided by tb. It is the frequency of the signal, not fc. It should be written as fi. Okay, so with this particular signal, see how many signals are in our hand. In our hand, we are having two signals, one signal for symbol 0 and one signal for symbol 1. S1 of t means symbol 1, S2 of t means symbol 0. Keep that in the mind. Okay, so totally how many number of basis functions? Just observe and tell me how many number of basis functions. If you observe, there are two basis functions which are represented as phi I of t. I have not written both the basis functions. It has been written as follows: phi I of t. Okay, I can have 1 and I can have 2. I value can have 1 at a time and another value is 2. So therefore phi 1 of t and phi 2 of t, these two are the basis functions. Okay, if you are having the basis functions, then it would be very easier to express the signal in the form of basis functions. Okay, in the form of basis functions, any signal could be expressed in terms of basis functions. And with this, you came to know equation number 29. You came to know that there are two basis functions. Okay, now how many signals we are having? Two signals, S1 and S2. So I will write S1 here and S2 here and write the expression root of 2 EB by TB, 2 pi F1t, 2 pi F2t. Okay, this is the first signal. Let us express this signal in terms of basis functions. How many basis functions? Phi 1 and phi 2. So it could be written like this. So you know what is phi 1? Root of 2 by TB cos 2 pi f1t. Okay, in this expression there is no f cos 2 pi f2t. Okay, therefore the second basis functions won't be is not considered. So therefore, how will I write this signal in terms of two basis functions? Root EB into phi 1 of t plus 0 into phi 2 of t. What is phi 2 of t? Root of 2 by TB cos 2 pi f2t. Okay, into 0. So therefore, the effect of f2t is overcome by this particular 0. Therefore, this could be understood as S11 into phi1 of t plus S12 into phi2 of t. Similarly, let us write the expression for S2 of t. S2 of t is expressed as follows. Sorry, 2 EB by TB cos 2 pi F2t. Here there is no F1. F1 is related to first basis function. So therefore you write 0 into phi1 of t plus root EB into phi2 of t. So phi1 of t in the root of 2 by TB cos 2 pi F1t into 0. So therefore you will have 0 over here. Root EB phi2 of t. Phi2 of t means root of 2 by TB cos 2 pi F2t. So that would take care. So we got the signal in terms of the basis functions, and from the basis you can extract the coefficients of the coefficients so that it would be easy to construct the vectors and hence the signal constellation. So now what is the vector representation for S1 of t? It is S1. Over here it has been written root EB comma 0. Okay, how it has been taken? Root EB and 0. The coefficients have been taken S11 and S12. So therefore root EB comma 0. Then S2 of t, it is 0 comma root EB. Then what does this represent? S1 and S2. What does this represent? S1, it represents the vector form of the signal S1 of t or symbol 1. Then what does S2 of t represents? S2 of t represents the vector form of the signal S2 of t or symbol 0. Then the 2 points could be plotted as the two vectors, vectors S1 and S2 could be plotted as the points. One will lie on the horizontal axis, this one, and the second point S2, it will lie on the vertical axis. So this is how the constellation diagram is given. In the tomorrow's class, we will study the probability of error. So let me close the meeting.